Welcome to the Big Business Blueprint video course. We designed this course for entrepreneurs and business owners who've started their business and are looking to grow their business exponentially within the next 12 months. The course is separated into 7 different modules, with each part covering a specific area of your business. Each module represents a pillar, and mastery of each pillar would help you in strengthening your business foundation. In this first module, we'll cover the first core fundamental, which is your mindset. This is core because all of your actions originate from your thoughts, so it makes perfect sense that if you want to change your results, you must first change your mindset. Why is it that in this world there are rich people and poor people? Have you ever wondered what makes the difference between these two groups of people? What makes them get the results they want in their life? Is it their rich background? I don't think so. I've known people who come from rich families but squandered their family riches over petty squabbles and lavish lifestyles. They end up being rich on paper, but they're neck high in debt. On the other end of the spectrum, I also know millionaires who come from simple, average backgrounds. When they first started, they've had all the reasons to fail and not make it, yet against all odds, they held their ground and now enjoy the riches of their hard work. So if background is not the factor, or resources, what is the deciding factor that will ultimately decide if you will be rich or if your business succeeds? The answer lies between your ears, and that is your mindset. We are the product of what we think. Where we are today is the result of all the decisions we made and did not make. The quality of life that you're enjoying or not enjoying is a result of your thoughts. Success is a choice, and all choices stem from your thoughts. It's an internal game, if you will. 90% of success in business comes from having the right mindset. When you win the internal game, you make better decisions, which ultimately leads to building a 7-figure business and beyond. There is nothing either good or bad. Only thinking makes it so. William Shakespeare. This quote means the way you see things determines if what happens to you adds or subtracts value. Is it your thinking that differentiates a mistake and a lesson? Yes. Therefore, if you want to change the fruit, you must first change the roots. If you want to change the visible, you must first change the invisible. Same goes for business. If you want to take your business to the next level, you must first change your mindset. There are 5 mindsets which, when practiced, form the basis for a 7-figure mindset. Mindset 1. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. It's how you view yourself from a third party's perspective. For example, when you set for yourself a sales target and you feel fear of achieving it, thinking that it's impossible to do so, then self-awareness at this point would be to acknowledge that you're fearful and start to investigate inwardly to understand, why is there fear of growth? Does it stem from feelings of unworthiness or something even deeper? Having awareness creates the opportunity to make changes in our behaviors and beliefs, because we're able to catch disempowering behaviors before they even become a part of our identity. To develop self-awareness, it starts with listening inwardly to your emotions, thoughts, and feelings. You first listen by identifying a situation in which you realize your beliefs don't serve you. Then detach yourself from that situation and inquire, why did you react in this way? Was it conscious, deliberate, on purpose, or was it out of fear, out of some sort of deeper level of fear? When you start practicing this on a daily basis, you'll be able to catch non-serving mindsets, limiting beliefs, and actions before they happen, and turn them into something that serve you better. Self-awareness has 3 aspects: self-control, self-reflection, and self-beliefs. You need to gain mastery over each aspect as a foundation to a bigger mindset. The first aspect is self-control. It's the ability to control oneself in terms of our emotions, our desires, and how we react to other people's behavior, especially in difficult and heated situations. The ability to exert self-control is called willpower. Heard of the quote, "If there's a will, there's a way"? When your willpower is strong, you'll be able to bring your team and company to a higher level and find a way out of challenges and adversities. Next is self-reflection, which is important for self-improvement. This is the part of acknowledging your wins and giving yourself feedback for improvement. To do self-reflection at the end of the day, sit down in a quiet area and reflect on what happened in the day. Was it your biggest lesson of the day? Something you can remember that was outstanding? Did you end the day as to how you intended it to be? Were your daily goals achieved? If not, why do you think it was not achieved? What you can then actively do to prepare for tomorrow and make things better is think. What can you actively do to prepare for tomorrow and make things better? Throughout this process, write your thoughts and suggestions on a piece of paper and have them as your personal or company goals. When you're setting your goals, be honest with yourself. Set goals that you're able to accomplish and strive to improve yourself day by day. This also translates into your company goals. The third aspect of self-awareness is self-belief. This is you believing in your talents and abilities with uncompromising conviction. This is very important because if you don't believe in yourself and don't believe that you're worthy of success, you'll be trapped in a self-fulfilling loop of self-sabotage. Here's a true story, and you've probably heard about this before, but lottery winners go broke within less than a year of collecting their winnings. If you do a web search on lottery winners who went broke, you'll see an extensive list. But why is that? It's because they weren't prepared to receive such a huge lump sum in one go. How big your business grows is proportionate to how big your mindset is. In order for your mindset to grow big, you must first discard your limiting beliefs. Take a look at your current belief system and ask if these beliefs are still serving you, or are they limiting your potential to be better. Discard any beliefs that do not serve or hold you back and install new beliefs that push you forward. Remember that you and your business will only grow as big as you do, so grow yourself and your mindset to be colossal. Mindset 2. Identify the big plan. Complementing your big mindset is having a big plan. Having a plan is crucial as it gives you clarity as to your priorities. To do this, on a piece of paper, write down everything you want to be, do, and have. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what is it that you want to have? You may also list this down specifically for your business. Don't think, just write. Assume that money is not an issue, and if you write it down, it will be successful. So go all out for this. Pause this video, take 15 minutes, and do it now. Yes, now. Next, look at your full list and cross out goals that mean little to nothing to you personally. What I mean by that is if it doesn't excite you, move you, or scare you, cross it out because it would do little to nothing to challenge you to grow. At the end of it, you have a list of goals that truly mean something to you, and these goals are completed successfully. If they're completed successfully, your growth will be a quantum leap. To bring these goals into reality, set a time frame for that goal to be accomplished. Goals and dreams that are not acted upon are just wishes, or words and pictures on a piece of paper at best. For example, your business goal is to grow the business by 30% by setting up 3 more branches within 9 months' time. This is a measurable goal that has a quantifiable growth and a time frame for it to be achieved within. It's important for all of your goals to be quantifiable so you know your measurement of success. Next part is to take massive action. In the pursuit of taking action, you need to be mindful and self-aware of your actions. Are your actions effective and efficient? Are these actions taking you closer or further away from your goal? Track your daily actions in a productivity planner for greatest effect. Mindset 3. Commitment and consistency. Earning a 7-figure income is easy for some, but not all. Above all, success comes with consistency and commitment. In order to earn 7-figure income, you have to commit to learning and evolving constantly. To constantly grow is the only assurance that your business will remain relevant for years to come. And if you're not growing, quite frankly, you're dying. As a leader in your company, You need to handle the direction and strategy of the company. Hence, where the company goes is dependent on your vision of the company. A leader can learn and evolve by having the first mindset shared earlier on reflection. Write out your thoughts and feelings and journey within to get to the root cause of your problems. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions, and actions lead to results. Here's a surefire way to assist you in improving yourself as a leader. Practice Kaizen. This is the practice of deliberate and continuous improvement. It has its origins in Japan and is roughly translated as, quote, good change. The primary focus of Kaizen is to eliminate waste. Following the Kaizen philosophy, you take small steps forward. The fundamental principle of Kaizen is to take incremental improvements over a period of time. It's a process and a long-term commitment, which means its maximum potential is only realized when it's adopted into your personal lifestyle and company culture fully. Here are 4 steps to practicing Kaizen. Step 1. Identify an area which you'd like to improve on. It could be in your personal life or in the business. 2. Identify small specific tasks that will contribute towards achieving your goal. This is to approach your objective in a step-by-step approach, and the intention is to make it easy so that you'll start in the first place. Refrain from the urge to do many things at once. 3. Prioritize your actions. After listing all the possible actions, balance out prioritization with your schedule. If your schedule is packed, then do the easiest action, which requires the shortest amount of time. If you're feeling motivated and have more time, start with the action that will make the biggest impact to yourself and your company. And step 4, create a timeline for each task. The purpose for this is so that each action that you take gradually develops into a habit. This also helps you to keep track of your progress. Mindset 4. Attitude determines altitude. Excellence is not about skill, but attitude. In order to achieve 7-figure income, you'll have to banish excuses that get in the way. Even when you fail, don't lose hope. Keep striving ahead and do your best. In life, there are no failures, really, only lessons. Just like Albert Einstein, he didn't stop trying even after multiple failures and attempts, because he knew that it was through those failures that he would learn, grow, and never make the same mistake twice. To be a leader, you'll need to be a good role model to your team members. You'll need to develop good habits as a stepping stone to your personal and business success. And when it comes to hiring staff, hire those who display a good attitude as well. How do you know their attitude towards work when you first meet them, though? You'll be able to identify their attitudes through the small things like punctuality, manners, sense of urgency, or willingness to ask relevant questions. The small things sometimes say a lot about a person. Why is attitude so important, and how does attitude play a role in moving the company to a higher level? Well, how you do anything is how you'll do everything. A staff with a good attitude will do anything and everything with their best effort. And these are the kinds of employees that you should look for and surround yourself with to be in your company. Mindset 5. If you're not growing, you're dying. The only thing constant in this world is change, and to keep up with that change and stay relevant means you have to learn. The world is moving forward every hour, every minute, and every second. Therefore, we cannot use yesterday's solutions to solve today's problems. The same goes for mindset. You cannot achieve a 7-figure income with a 3-figure mindset. The gap is just too big. Therefore, you and your team need to commit to growing themselves, not just in their skill and talent, but also mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually. You might be wondering why so many areas. Well, try taking one area out. Does the business or would your staff still be able to contribute to their fullest potential? For example, if you take physical growth and improvement out of the picture, you'll have all of the money in the world but be ridden with sickness and disease. No matter the amount you earn, your health can never be replaced. And bear in mind though, if you're learning the wrong things, whatever you do will be wrong. This is when unlearning comes into play. Unlearning is as important as learning. It's a process of setting aside all thoughts and beliefs that no longer serve your interests or your company in today's world. You might find it hard to change yourself or even your habits, but the only time you start to see growth is when you feel uncomfortable. You can never reach a new level if you remain in your comfort zone. It's easy to fall back to your existing mindset if you surround yourself with people who don't support what you're trying to do. If you want to grow emotionally, intellectually, and in business, you've got to make sure that you're growing in an environment surrounded by positive people. These 5 mindsets are the fundamentals to handle your business growth. You may add more to it, and that's fine, but make sure whatever mindset and beliefs you adopt function only to serve and empower you to do better. You've just started your business and sales are probably low, which means profit is low. In this phase, you have 2 options. Either you grow the normal way or you scale fast. And to scale fast, you need to bootstrap. Bootstrapping means using existing resources to scale and grow the company instead of relying on external resources or money. This is beneficial to the business because bootstrapping forces you to think outside of the box and, in the end, realize there was no box to begin with. It's not the lack of resources that stops business owners from moving forward or innovating. It's the lack of resourcefulness that often gets them stuck. Bootstrapping is a situation in which entrepreneurs start a company with not much capital for their business, and bootstrapping is a way to ensure that that business has a positive cash flow. Many entrepreneurs understand the meaning of bootstrapping, that it's when a business borrows less money and the interest cost is reduced too. Bootstrapping is a steady way to begin compelling revenue and to support future investments by providing the business with a safety net for long-term cost management. This will also provide professionals with the peace of mind that they need to focus on building relations with customers and other professionals. Business people don't have to issue equity, and they can concentrate on obligation on individual sources. With bootstrapping, entrepreneurs can't really experiment out of their forte. The first tactic is, done is better than perfect. Too many fumble at this phase. They believe that they need to do the best, have the best, and be the best in order to launch a ground-shaking, heaven-splitting, pioneering product. But that's not required. You don't need to be great to start, but you do need to start in order to ever be great. Best is an illusion. Perfection is an even bigger illusion. From my experience, the pursuit of being the best is a fear of rejection, and too many focus on what other people will say. To get started, just get started. Get cracking. Put a time frame and have the product launch within that time frame. In business, if your product is an innovative product, you want to launch it before your competitors leverage off the first mover advantage. This advantage captures the first slice of the market pie, and when done right, it can establish either your position in the market or theirs. Which one do you want? Being perfect will kill your business and your idea because the key insight is this: version 1 is better than version none. Let's continue talking about bootstrapping. If you've just started your business and sales are low, that means profit is low. In this module, you'll learn the second tactic that many entrepreneurs are not aware of at this phase. Tactic number 2 is to use what you have to its maximum ability. This translates into being resourceful. This tactic will save you hundreds and thousands of dollars in the long run, and trust me on this when I say it's worth the effort. Before starting my own business and managing a 7-figure company, I got my business experience from working in the largest fast-moving consumer goods company in the world. The company is now worth billions of dollars and has an annual target of one key business unit in the company of over 150 million US. Yes, it's big. Yes, it's huge, and the numbers are glorious, but I saw its Achilles heel. Its massive size was becoming its bane. There were too many processes. Staff turnover was high and innovation was low. Our numbers were high, but actually we couldn't sustain it. Targets got higher, the market got more competitive, and the stress level of the company was getting more and more toxic. At some point, everyone was clouded with internal bottlenecks and putting out fires within internal departments. Smaller and newer competitors that came into the market were launching products faster than we could react or even innovate. And by the time we got the first campaign rolling to respond to our competitors' product launches, they had already launched product number 2. What was the difference? How could they launch at such speed? When we analyzed the situation, What I discovered was that because they were smaller, they could move and mobilize more quickly. They were being resourceful with what little they had, while we were dragging our feet. Don't make our mistake. In this module of Big Business Blueprint, you'll understand Tactic 3 as it refers to being innovative. This will help you as a business owner to constantly challenge your business. Tactic number 3, disrupt your own company, or your competitors will. This tactic translates into innovation. As a business owner, your worst enemy is yourself, your own mind. The moment you get complacent is the moment you stop growing. Your complacency is also your comfort zone, and there's only so much growth that can happen in your comfort zone. True story, I've sure you've heard of Uber, an app that makes hiring an on-demand private driver easy. Today, in 2017, Uber is valued at over $66 billion. The entire core function of the business is built on the model of hiring drivers. But guess what their R&D department is doing? They're researching self-driving cars. This means that eventually customers will hire self-driven cars instead of on-demand drivers. If Uber was not disrupting themselves, then Google or Tesla would do it for them. The big picture is these 3 bootstrapping tactics are designed to make you and your company grow with the most effective use of resources. Be obsessed with growth, because that's the quickest way to get to 7 figures. Everything grows, even in nature. Do you know how a lobster grows? The hard shell doesn't grow with the soft body of the lobster. So the hard shell is a fixed size. When the soft body of the lobster grows, it feels discomfort. It expands into all the space within the hard shell. It starts to get really uncomfortable until at a certain point, it knows that it needs to shed its current limiting shell. The lobster then finds a spot under a rock, exits from its hard shell, and waits under that rock for its new layer to harden and grow into its new stature and its new strength. That's how a lobster grows, but I think we can learn from it, and that's how our businesses can grow too. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. This quote from Milton Berle states that you need to create opportunities and form strategies that will aid in the growth of your $1 million company. One way to construct a $1 million company is to identify a pattern and scale it to the top. For example, Micah Adler, CEO of Fixu, a portable app designer, developed this company from under $1 million in revenue to over $100 million with just $17.6 million in funding and in only 3.5 years after its launch. Some startups begin without any monetization strategy, and that's rather risky if there's no long-term goal. Twitter is an example of this phenomenon, but there are countless other companies out there building up their free user bases, hoping that inspiration and consequently financial stability will eventually strike along the way. But most gainful organizations work from one of 2 conscious models. Either they pitch a ton of modest items to many individuals, or they pitch a couple of big ticket items to a more limited purchaser list. What's more important than choosing is having a defined plan for monetization. Knowing how you'll make money from the start will prevent wasted time spent hoping that something profitable will come together for you miraculously. Hitting $1 million in revenue during your first year is no small feat, and you certainly aren't going to achieve that goal with a team of underperformers. Yes, hiring slackers is cheaper and easier, but you'll pay for this convenience when your end of the year sales numbers come up short, and they definitely will, trust me. Instead, you need to hire all-stars, and the fastest way to do this is to ask around for referrals. Pay particular attention to the sales hires you make, as these key employees stand to make the biggest difference in your business's bottom line. Finally, if you want to shoot for the revenue moon, you need to be absolutely militant about gathering data and acting upon the data, not your gut. When I approach an innovative marketing project, I prefer to work in short sprints of a few weeks or less, where we'll try something new, check the stats to see how the changes impacted revenue, and then either commit the changes or try a new test. Growing a company to $1 million in revenue in your first year isn't easy, but it is possible. Stick to the tips above and be ruthless about profitability. Even if you don't hit this particular goal, you'll earn the strongest sales results possible for your company. Strategy allows organizations to develop a clearer understanding of their own organization and what's required for them to succeed. It helps organizations understand their core capabilities, identify and address weaknesses, and mitigate risks. It can help organizations better design themselves so that they're focusing on the right things that are most likely to deliver the best performance, productivity, and profit both now and in the future. While strategy can be difficult for many organizations to commence, its benefits are far-reaching and many. From creating new business opportunities to streamlining the operations and engaging staff, a well-formulated strategy will enable increased growth, productivity, and profit, both now and into the future. Depending on where you are now in your business, a pay of $1 million may appear to be intimidating or very distant. The trick is to work backwards. That means if you want your business to earn $1 million a year, the business sales target per month is $83,333 a month, or $20,833 a week, or per day, $4,166. Now that there's some clarity, the next question is, where is the business now and what does the business need to reach that target? The reason having a strategy is so important is because it gives businesses time to get a sense of how they're performing, what their capabilities are, and if these capabilities are able to help them grow. A strategy can identify trends and opportunities in the future. It can examine the broader changes in the market, such as political, social, or technological changes, as well as consumer changes, and develop tactics so your business can modify and develop to suit these future changes. By creating a business strategy, a company can create a competitive advantage and ultimately understand more about themselves and where they're going. In summary, when you're bootstrapping, work your current resources to their maximum potential and be creative about it. Explore different perspectives and seek for alternatives. Operate the business on its bare necessities to keep the margins high and be obsessed with creating value. So, how to generate profitable offer ideas? Ideas are the bread and butter of the company. A great idea will skyrocket a company quickly to 7 figures, more quickly than you can imagine, and your offer to your consumers will keep the business engine running. The 5 most innovative companies in the world, as reported by Forbes, are Amazon, Google, Uber, Apple, and Snap. These companies are valued in the hundreds of billions and transact hundreds of millions a day. But how do these companies start? Well, with an idea. Apple was started by Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs in a garage on a vision to have a computer for the rest of us. Back then, having a computer was nearly impossible. It wasn't commonly thought of by consumers because the cost was high and the size and form factor were not convenient. But today, because Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs didn't stop pursuing their vision, Apple is valued at close to $1 trillion. Meanwhile, the famous search engine, Google, was also crafted based on Larry Page's idea of exploring mathematical properties of the World Wide Web, understanding its link structure, and creating it in a huge graph. Google was then officially established in 1998. This goes to show that generating that drop-dead idea that's going to start the world on fire is possible, as projected by these innovative companies. When you see something that piques your interest, ask yourself this: what is it about this situation that's special? Then narrow down your focus so you familiarize yourself with the idea. However, before generating your ideas, there are certain steps to be taken into consideration to ensure that your thought processes are in line with the outcome that you want to achieve. These tactics will ensure the effectiveness of generating your profitable offer ideas, which will be discussed in the next module. The first tactic in generating profitable offer ideas is by having a vision. Before starting with any ideas, you must first start with your vision. What's the vision of your company? Your vision is what will be the guiding light for all of your ideas to take shape, because you can come out with as many ideas as you want, but the question is, could you really execute all of them? Well, time as well as resources to execute the idea, all of the ideas, are limited. There are only 24 hours in a day and only so much of financial resource to go around that you can leverage, which means you want those ideas to be congruent and aligned to your vision for the company. You'd go bankrupt and you'd waste a lot of time in executing all of the ideas you have. Therefore, it's crucial to have a vision that you can focus on that will give you a clearer understanding on what it is that you ultimately want to achieve. To help you in generating your vision, try to ask these fundamental questions. What is your why? Why is this business important to you? Why did you start the company in the first place? Why this and not something else? These are all important questions which will give direction to evaluate which idea is most suited to your company. Take a moment, pause the video, and answer these questions. Don't worry about having the best vision because in our previous module, we learned there is no such thing as best. The most vital component is to identify what resonates with you. Thousands of people have taken up their hobbies and turned them into successful businesses. So think of your why now. For instance, Tim and Nina Zagat, who launched the Zagat Surveys, a publishing empire that sells restaurant guides for many major USA and European cities. In the early 1970s, the Zagats were high-priced corporate attorneys who had the passion of dining out. For fun, they created a newsletter which they distributed to close friends to rank popular restaurants in several categories. Each year, the newsletter encompassed more restaurants, and in the end, the couple began charging money for it to reduce their expenses as it became so time-consuming and actually cost them money to produce. Identifying your interest and what resonates with you is important because when you or the company is faced with a tough situation, your passion and commitment to that vision will push or pull you through. So pause this video, take 20 minutes, and answer those questions. Welcome back. Did you get your vision nailed down? It's okay if it's version 1 because version 1, again, is better than version none. In this module, we'll be looking at your target audience in order to give more focus in generating your ideas. With your vision, the next question is whom are you serving? This would be your target audience. If you don't know who you're serving, then you'll be serving everyone who ultimately makes your company confused, and the allocation of your resources will not be effective or efficient. It only projects lack of focus. You need to know who are they? Why them? What are their needs and wants? What problems are they facing? This is important because one of the ways you add value is, in most cases, solving problems. How well you solve your customers' problems is in direct relation to how much your target audience will pay. For example, if you're planning to operate a restaurant, focus on the theme of the restaurant. What type of food will you want to serve? And also the price range. This will set your standards as well as setting your niche, and inevitably pull the supposed audience in your favor. When you've gotten a clearer picture of your audience, next is to seek and establish relevance to them. How would your company, products, or services help to solve their problems? Write down as many ways as you can think of. Those ways are now your prototype of your company, products, and services. Your next task is to then test it out and seek for proof of concept. You do this by selecting the one product that would solve the biggest problem of your audience. Put it out into the market by doing research and asking your audience if they would buy it and actually start selling it. Collect the money, and then you create the product. Yes, sell first, collect the money, and then create the product. Now, if you're thinking that that's tricking your customers, well, it isn't. There have been too many companies that create the product first and only then find the target market to sell to, which, I mean, to me, it's insane. These companies would pump thousands of dollars into product research and development only to find out that it's not even what their customers want in the first place. So avoid wasting your resources and time and prove the concept with money, their money. This method is called failing forward fast. The process is this. You want to get an idea quickly that solves the biggest problem of your target audience. Ask if they would buy it, sell it to them, get the money, and with that money, you go to a manufacturer and make the product. Now, of course, you would have settled all the gaps required in between, like actually having a manufacturer on standby, a prototype product, a sales offer, discount for early buyers, and a registered company so that you're legal. If you don't have any of these, then yes, you are involved in a scam, and you should rethink your strategy. The reason for failing forward fast is so you can get the key insights to come out with a version 2 of the product. You also need to sell and collect the money up front, because sometimes what your audience says they'll pay and what they actually pay is different. The moment of truth is when they reach into their pockets and actually hand you the money. That's when you know you've found an initial product worth investing your R&D dollars into. The following tactic to generate profitable offer ideas is to do a brainstorming session on product ideas. Ideally, your brainstorm should be with max 5 people, because too many people dilutes the quality of the brainstorm session. Imagine 30 people in a room doing a brainstorm. Not impossible, but it would definitely be less effective. As you're brainstorming, put the ideas and suggestions into a mind map. This makes it easier for you to refer back to the ideas after the brainstorm. There are 5 simple steps to do an effective brainstorm. The first step is to set the context. This means that the tone and intention of the brainstorm is clarified up front. There's no right or wrong answer, and the focus on the brainstorming session is just to generate ideas. The last thing you want happening is for your people to withhold their ideas for fear of being rejected or ridiculed. Therefore, it's the responsibility of the meeting lead to set the climate for ideas to flow. You may also want to put on some brain music, generally classical songs, to get the creative juices flowing. Steps 2 and 3 are to start the brainstorm and get the ideas flowing. The idea is to turn it into a game, where the game is to imagine that there is a balloon that's being thrown around in the room. Every time someone speaks, the balloon bounces from one person to another, and it keeps afloat every time there is silence. The balloon floats closer to the ground. The moment silence passes too long, the balloon pops, and the process starts again. This makes the session fun and engaging. Step 4 is, when the session is done, ideally after 20 to 30 minutes, evaluate the ideas. Discuss and decide with the team on what is the biggest problem faced by the target audience and which idea solves their problem. After a decision is made, you move on to step 5, where you write out action points. This then moves into the execution phase. Here, you list down all the required actions to bring the idea to life and assign these action points to your team. All action points must have a person in charge, otherwise there'll be a gap in your execution. The previous tactics in generating profitable ideas was designed to create new products. In this module, we'll discuss a way to shorten the idea creation time, and that is to reinvent the wheel. Yes, you must have heard the saying to not reinvent the wheel, which translates into don't be a pioneer and just take something that's already there. Well, that's true. However, when it comes to ideas, you would want to reinvent it. It's not about who did it first, but it's about who does it best. Our society is made to believe that everything is already set and there's no room for innovation. The truth, however, is without entrepreneurs coming in with new ideas or bettering previous processes, the world would be dull and boring. So always remember, it's not who did it first, but who does it best. And if you're fortunate enough to become your own business leader, you'll get an idea of where you need to reinvent yourself so competitors don't catch up on you. Remember to take the leap. Sometimes you just have to jump and take the risk to see if your ideas are worthy in competing in the current market. You'll never know unless you try. For instance, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, started off his days as a student in Harvard University, where his idea eventually gained popularity and then traversed the universe. It's very easy to lose focus when you feel you have odds stacked against you, and competition will always be there, so might as well just do it. We'll have more in-depth discussion regarding this tactic in the next module, so I'll see you there. So this is the second part of how to generate profitable offer ideas tactics, reinventing the wheel specifically. Reinventing in this context means taking an existing idea, stripping it down to its bare components, and then finding its key lever points and making it even better, even faster, and easier. The intention is to question the current ways of solving problems and getting things done. Just because it's always been done this way doesn't mean that this way is the best way. For example, the house rental market has been rather straightforward. You rent a house by entering into a contract with a landlord, that decides the duration of rent and cost of rent with other terms and conditions. This has been going on for ages. Then you strip down all the components of this practice, which in this case is the landlord, tenant, rental, terms and conditions, contract, and home. You'll have the individual pieces that you then need to piece it together to create a new picture. So there would be questions like, what if the tenant was the landlord? What if rental was shorter and more affordable? What if I didn't need to book expensive hotels during my holiday? What if I could meet new people along the way? Breaking down these components is exactly what gave birth to Airbnb. If you don't know about it, Airbnb is an online marketplace where people can lease and rent short-term accommodations. This covers a wide range of vacation homes, apartments, homestays, hotels, and hostels. Today, Airbnb is valued at $31 billion. Just amazing. There are many more ways that you can use to generate ideas, but don't get caught up with finding the best way. Just pick one and get it done with. Remember that version 1 is always better than version none. Welcome back to the Big Business Blueprint. To recap, we've learned how to generate profitable ideas offered. In this module, we'll be focusing on how to raise the capital for your business. In the world of business, capital represents the fuel for your business to run efficiently. If your business needs a bigger engine, you'll be needing bigger capital. A bigger capital will drive your business towards your desired destination. In other words, your goal, your financial goal. To do this, it will include loans for working capital, purchasing machinery, hiring more staff, or even refinancing existing loans. Plus, if you're trying to restructure your company's debt, refinancing your company's debt can assist you by freeing up some cash in your business for working capital and expansion. Additionally, the growth of your company's financial standards can assist you in securing new opportunities. It's not impossible to raise the needed capital for your business within a short period. My business managed to raise $125,000 in just 4 days. Now, my company wasn't built yesterday. Before I pitched to investors, my company had a long history of profits and sales. But this is crucial because I raised funds for my business through my investors. The capital I raised was by bringing in investors to invest into my business. People investing in you or your business is because they want to. They want to earn money. They want to earn more money. This is practically the only reason they invest. They're getting their money to work for them. So what are the steps needed to raise your desired capital in just 4 days? Here are 3 steps on strategic funding, how to raise capital in 4 days. We'll cover it in the next 3 modules. Step 1, preparation of plan. Planning is crucial before you can pitch to your investors. Smart investors know if you're planning on a whim. So build your plans before laying it out to the investors. To put it simply, decide upon your key messages. Key messages are indicators of your company's focus or goals. It could be a set of questions to put your company in the right direction. Questions such as, are you growing rapidly? Are you solving an obvious problem? Is your company's branding marketable? How can the investors benefit from the investment? The answers will aid you to set your business primary goals. Now that you have your key messages in check, preparing your idea will help you determine what excites investors the most. The potential return, the social advantages it provides, or the excitement of being associated with your brand. You'd want to address all of those. Thus, the importance of creating a core message will help you to create a better sales pitch. Finally, you want to attract investors to invest in your business. For example, you have an idea to turn the invested $1 into $2. How will you portray this plan the best way possible to grab that investor's attention that you desire? To do so, you need to come up with a complete plan for your investors. However, you'll also need to include the risk and the rate of return on the investment. Why? There will always be pros and cons to an idea. Laying this out and acknowledging that you know that there are risks to your investors by adding relevant mitigation measures will add value to your ideas and to you as a business owner. Step 2, join an investment club. What exactly is an investment club? Well, it's a group of people who pool their money together to venture into investments. They're an organized partnership. They have members studying different investments for the group. to decide whether to buy or sell based on the votes of the majority. When money is pooled together collectively as a group, bigger investment opportunities can be accessed versus any of them going solo. So after coming up with your business plan, join an investment club. While doing so, you could search for a mentor to guide you on how most investments work. In the investment club, you'll get the chance to talk about your business. This is when you'll need to dictate how your ideas or your business is profitable, whilst making them interested to invest. Ask yourself, do you want to use your money or other people's money to invest? The smart way, obviously, is to leverage other people's money. Your money alone will only have so much for your business to run, but with OPM or other people's money, with a group of investors, the sky will be your limit. Unity is the strength of your business capital. Inevitably, before you start selling your ideas to the investors, your role and opportunity in the club is to give talks and brief the investors about your ideas and your business. These are the people you want to approach and share your ideas with. Why? It's simply because they have the means to provide you your capital. So introduce yourself. Talk about the history of your business. This will build the trust between you and your investors. Remember, no one will invest if they don't trust in you or your business's credibility. Step 3, execution of plan. After you start getting the investors to invest in your business, it's time for you to execute them together. So you have your plan, you've joined an investment club, and now it's time for you to sell your ideas to your fellow investors. However, it's imperative for you and your investors to be on the same page. Your investors will need to evaluate your ideas together to reach for your business's desired goal. It's advised that you start your plan as soon as you acquire the fund, regardless of the amount. When your business is making profit, people will naturally be more willing to invest in you. Always remember that profit is the key. It's better than revenue, a profit margin. Profit is everything. This explains why your investors will only be interested in your business's profit, not your revenue. While executing your plan, keep a journal or report about the execution and the outcome of your plan. This will aid as a reference for any future investment plan. Keep a record of the profit made as proof. A successful story will boost your credibility and status. In the future, this will increase the confidence of other investors to invest in your business. And finally, it's time to repay your investors. At the end of the day, you should begin repaying your investors once profit has been made. This is to reduce the negative impact felt by your investors after investing into your business. If you're keeping track of your outcome in your report, you could include a section compiling the feedback of your investors. Feedback and testimonials help boosting other investors' confidence to invest in your business. It's imperative to repay your investors over the money what they have provided you. Ask yourself, what do you think would happen if you fail to reach the standards you've set up with your investors? What would happen if you do reach it and delayed their share of the profit? How will that reflect on your business opportunities in the future? It's simply because no one would want to do business with an incompatible figure. Your reputation is at stake. Surely, you want to retain the connections you gained with your investors. They're the ones that will help you in your future business planning. In the next video, we'll be discussing how to scale and quadruple your income by using the capital you raised in this phase. Welcome back. In this video, we'll be focusing on how to scale and manage your business. You'll also be looking at how to gain exceptional levels of income in the long run continuously. Excellent businesses have an edge which allows them to get ahead of the race. This advantage is called timing. Timing is the ability to select the precise moment for doing something for optimum effect. In this case, timing is the ability to gauge how much time you or your team need to get certain things done. You'll come to a stage where your schedule has reached its maximum capacity and you'll need to balance your time between looking for new business versus having quality time with the people who matter to you. For example, if you have a new project which has a very set fixed deadline, how do you manage the allocation of work among your team? Do you simply delegate all of the work using a top-down method? Or do you take a really good look at the work required for the project and instead adjust the work needed and shave off things that don't need to be done? At this stage, you'll have gained some insights on how to generate new leads and manage existing clients. Instead of engaging in a one-man show, a better approach will be to set up a team to execute delivery while you focus on generating sales, marketing, and generating new leads, pitching, and networking. To do that, you need to be working on your business rather than in your business. Let's talk about how to project your income. Before you set up a team, you need to estimate your cash flow. Without having any idea of how much money your business can generate, it's almost impossible to accurately plan your business ahead and prepare for the tough times that may befall your outfit. Fortunately, predicting how much you can earn is not difficult. You can estimate how much your first year revenue is by calculating how much money you can potentially earn. If your company isn't generating as much as what you've estimated, take it as a sign for you to tweak your plans. When you're at the helm of your business, it's very important to remember that a healthy business has a healthy stream of income. Predicting how much we'll earn in the future is not easy, but there is a way by projecting your income. So how do we do it? First, list down your current average earnings of 3 months and multiply them by 12 months. The amount you get will be your estimated annual sales. Secondly, subtract the total cost of production of the year to get the gross profit of your company. Third, to get the company's net profit before taxes, subtract the company's operating costs from the gross profit. The costs that will be incurred include employee salary, payroll, overhead cost, rental, etc. And after that, you'll need to further subtract the income tax from this. Taxes vary from country to country and from state to state, so I suggest that you should find the percentage of income taxes in your country to know your business net profit. Okay, let's talk about how to leverage and optimize your company. The next question you need to answer is how to increase revenue with the same amount of time and effort. You can do it by means of leveraging and optimizing your company. Leveraging your business means using your resources to their optimum advantage for improved results. One big question that you need to ask to leverage is this: am I using all of my resources to their best advantage? Do I still have backseat roles in my team which don't really contribute to anything? Do I really need these backseaters to complete projects or tasks? If you answered no or maybe, your business is ripe for leveraging on your existing talent pool and optimizing your team size so there are no backseats. Companies which can achieve more results with fewer resources are great examples of leveraging. One example is Brand A, which produces higher quality vehicles even though Brand B spends more on research. An African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you need a team. Many businessmen struggle in their businesses because they try to do everything themselves. Some result in hating the entire process because they end up performing tasks which are not their field of expertise, such as production or operations. Some end up having to work extra hours unnecessarily, and the irony here is that they build a business with the purpose of having more free time and achieve financial freedom, yet they get swallowed up and chained to the business. What you need here is actually a team which can execute the more operational and technical aspects of the company. This way, you'll have so much more time working on your business, not in it, which includes strategic planning and direction. The Sas Strategy. As mentioned before, one of the perks of having a strong business is that you'll have more free time to focus on the management and directional aspects of your business. For this to happen, you'll have to start considering hiring a talented team of people to take care of the operational, daily, and day-to-day tasks. One of the best strategies you can deploy is the SAS: simplify, automate, and systematize. Simplify. Keep things simple, organized, and straight to the point. Automate. Where tasks can be automated, automate them. Systematize. Build systems, processes, and standards by hiring managers that have knowledge of how to run the system. There are 5 main steps to simplify the business. First, write down in detail all the tasks you need to do on a daily basis. This includes everything from processing payments to product creation and meeting clients. Secondly, divide them into 2 categories, transactional and transformational actions. Transactional tasks are rudimentary and predictable, which include processing salaries, paying bills, rent, etc. Transactional tasks are perfect for automation. For example, sending out emails can be automated by using email services like MailChimp and Aweber. You just need some time to write all the emails, upload them onto the mail service, and set the time to send them. Transformational tasks, on the other hand, bring significant and positive impact to the business. They are the must-haves in the company. For example, business development, staff training, personal development, sales and marketing activities. These are more difficult to automate since different businesses will have very different needs. This also applies to the team behind it. The reason tasks are divided into these categories is so that we have clarity on what to prioritize and what to focus on, what positions to hire, the required job scope of those positions, and the salary that would match that job scope. Thirdly, analyze the list and eliminate redundant tasks, double entry tasks, and simplify the complex ones. To do this, you need to be disciplined and ruthless. The aim is to be efficient and fast. Find a way to automate tasks such as assembly lines or filing. Doing this opens up more time and energy for yourself and for your team to focus on more important tasks. Fourthly, lump the transactional tasks together. Outsource or hire an administrative staffer to take care of it so that you can focus on the transformational tasks. Lastly, hire and retain staff that can perform transformational tasks. The right kind of people can become an asset to your business, so don't be afraid to cut those who are not an asset to the business and not a good fit for the company. Retain the ones who work well together in the team. Again, make sure you minimize backseat roles as much as possible. Getting the right team. In the previous chapters, we've discussed about hiring a team to better handle the tasks that are needed to ensure your business thrives. The right team delivers the best results and will ensure the continuity of your business. But first, what is an ideal team size for your business? It's recommended to start with around 5 to 7 people. A small initial team size is very important so that you can maintain team dynamics at the highest level. Dynamics require a solid context. So unless a solid context is set at the beginning, a team that is too small will only operate on orders and become very transactional and operational. You need to be there physically most of the time to manage such a team, and opinions that matter really won't be voiced by your small team. You don't want that to happen because you want your team to speak their thoughts, debate, and challenge you in healthy ways. It's only through that process that you'll be able to spot and cover gaps in the business and ultimately do better. A yes person who says yes to everything, well, that kind of person is definitely a no-no on a team that's going to grow. Keep a healthy balance between operational staff, creative staff, and managers or supervisors in the team you hire. A good setup would be 2 managers or supervisors to every 3 staff. This is to keep the system running smoothly and maintain an optimal standards level. And again, keep in mind that you need to minimize the backseat roles in your business. So your staffers, they're not passive, but they're not managers either. Be clear on who you want and what positions you want to fill. You may do this from the list of tasks that you did earlier on. This will allow you more free time to start thinking on a higher level and work on your business, not in it. So, do you want to hire a full-time staff, or do you want to only pick up contractual staff that only serve for certain projects? The answer really depends on you, whether you want a full-time or contractual staff. Each has its own strengths and weaknesses, of course. A full-time staff has the highest chance of developing company loyalty and a sense of ownership to both their roles and the business, and the result is a committed workforce. But a part-time or contractual team can be an excellent staffing option too for small or young businesses. due to the potential for flexibility and the relatively low cost. Such workers necessarily work fewer hours, and so they'll cost less in wages. You could even outsource certain rudimentary tasks to keep costs low. In terms of hiring, it's recommended to go with long-term contracts. You may also want to consider having a profit-sharing scheme where the team can leverage off the business's success. This promotes empowerment, very strong staff loyalty, and lower staff turnover. This means less training time while saving you more time during the period of hiring and interviewing. Improving leadership. Culture. If you happen to always end up with a poor performing team, let me tell you why. And it's a hard truth. The problem lies not with your employees, but with your lack of leadership skills. Sometimes your team can be excellent in performing their tasks, but there may be some aspects that you haven't really addressed, or that have been overlooked, that the performance does not reflect in the result. If you're facing this problem, there are 3 key points in managing and building an A team. The first one is creating culture. Culture is important as it sets the context and tone of the company. It governs mindsets, attitudes, and behaviors which ultimately influence your sales and profits. If the company runs on a low energy level and your employees rarely converse with one another, what do you think the result would be? Well, definitely the result of the work becomes mediocre over time. To cultivate a high-performance work culture, you need to set rules, often referred to as a code of honor. You can do this by gathering the team and listing down the desired attributes, attitudes, behaviors, and results that would require the team to practice excellence and achieve your company's goals. The code itself is a list of guidelines that helps the team perform well under an effective leadership. Examples of the code of honor items are playing 100%, never leaving a teammate behind, always expressing gratitude, or always learning, to suggest a few. Filter out the unnecessary ones and then boil it down to a list of about 8 to 10 rules. Put them into practice and uphold them to the highest level to set the team into high performance gear. An example of a rule that I personally live by, rule number 1, commit to learning and personal development every day. On improving leadership, let's talk about learning and development. The second key point is to learn and develop. If the team is not learning and growing, then really they're dying. Therefore, your team needs to constantly sharpen their saw. There are always businesses out there who work harder, smarter, and quicker than your team. It's just a reality. And if there's no growth in learning or developing current talents, that is, surely one day, your competitors will close the gap and surpass you. This also means death to your business. If you're not learning, you're dying. Stay ahead of your competitors by structuring learning and development activities for your team. The reason is these activities help them to be very efficient and effective in problem solving, time management, and prioritization. There are lots of activities that you can do for your team to help their growth. The first is apprenticeship. This means sending your team over to other organizations to learn from them. This can be a very useful and effective way to eventually develop a new skill. Second is career counseling. This is where your team members discuss with their supervisor a career plan and develop that career plan to identify areas for improvement or advancement and how those areas can be addressed and also when. Coaching includes working one-on-one with the learner to conduct a needs assessment, set major goals to accomplish, develop an action plan, and support the learner to accomplish that plan. The team member drives these activities, and the coach provides continuing feedback and support. Continuing professional development is very beneficial so that your team stays up to date in the views and practices necessary to lead and manage in today's organizations. There are an increasing number of universities, colleges, and training centers associating continuing education credits or continuing education units with their courses and workshops, so why not leverage those? Sometimes your team doesn't have the proper technique to learn and retain new things. Organizations and other environments are changing rapidly. Therefore, it's extremely important to continually be aware of those changes and to be reflecting on them and learning from them as well. Basically, with continuous learning, you help your team to learn and how to learn. Courses and seminars are great platforms for the learning and development of new knowledge or skills on your team. Courses with hands-on experience are even better since it'll help your team apply what they have just learned, making the lessons even more effective. Another great way to encourage self-learning for your team is to provide them with opportunities to give presentations. For example, have a 15-minute presentation on a topic that adds value to your team and specifically what you're working on. Let's say there are 7 people on your team. That would be a total of 105 minutes of presentation every time you do this meeting. And if you do it every month, then annually, it would add up to 84 topics and 21 hours of learning. Okay, we've talked a lot about improving leadership. Let's do a quick debrief. The third key point is for you to do a debrief or a post-mortem after each successfully completed project. Debriefing is the most powerful learning tool to recap everything that you've learned. Debriefing is done by evaluating a recent project. Key areas to look into are reflections of what has been done, insights with the aim of that project towards the future, linking the challenge with the actions and how similar projects can be done more effectively in the future. Debriefs are important after your projects to identify gaps and insights as preparation for future projects. So in this stage, it's essential that your project team prepare a list of gaps during the project. There are 2 ways that you can go about this. The first is to identify the current gap that the project team detected and how to close that gap in the future. The second is to identify potential gaps in the future. An example is if you hear that your competitor is introducing a faster product sometime in the future, you might conclude that this could be significant to your business. Next part is to arrange a meeting session with your team. Now this is critical because your project team may have things that they might want to point out which are actually critical but not noticed during the project. Imagine skipping out on such a debriefing session and starting right away on the next project. Not only would it cause the same mistake to be made over and over again without anyone realizing, but your project team may be demoralized and further risking the projects in the future because of low morale. Therefore, it's your core role in these meetings to be a facilitator and to lead by conducting the session without bias, regardless of any employee's rank and regardless of what they say. The following questions are designed to facilitate insights from your team. What happened? What should have happened instead? What did we learn? How can we improve? What are the action plans for this session? At the end of the session, you'd have an action plan that the team can execute to improve on any aspects where there's a gap. All right, some people avoid this, but it's very important. Let's talk about managing your finances. The final part of this module is to manage your finances. If you don't know how to manage them, then I recommend that you hire or outsource this to someone else. But as a business owner in charge of your team, you need to know what your finances are to evaluate your business growth. The strategy is to minimize expenses by maximizing profits through sales and marketing. To do this, you need someone to monitor your company's cash flow. Unnecessary expenses are identified from the task list we created at the beginning of this module. When you eliminate those unnecessary tasks, you cut down your expenses. Upon receiving revenue, pay your staff first and yourself last. This is to take care of the engine of your business, the staff, and keep it running. It will definitely be a huge payoff in the long run, trust me. Then pay for what's necessary to keep operations running, like office, rent, utility bills, internet, necessary equipment, etc. With the balance as net profit, allocate 10% to the growth and development of the team. This covers costs you'll need when sending qualified team members to seminars, workshops, investing in books and training videos. Do this strategically with a specific outcome in mind. Don't spend willy-nilly. Allocate another 5% to spend on R&R. The team simply can't be running 24/7, especially when it comes to creative work. The mind needs to rest and unwind, and funds are needed to accomplish that. There are business owners and team leaders who don't allocate any playtime for the team to recharge, and that always results in burnout and boredom. Without naming names, I can tell you that there are Fortune 500 companies that deal with internet commerce and go ahead and Google the names of the top companies in the industry. You'll see examples of this. But when fund allocation is done in percentage versus value, the team is empowered, feels the sense of ownership for their work, and can contribute more actively in the company. All that needs to be done now is to increase productivity and marketing of the company. More revenue equals more profit. More profit equals more funds for learning, profit sharing, and R&R. When your business growth expands, hire a sales and marketing team to bring in sales for the company. Do high tickets to attract more profitable business projects instead of small projects with less profit. An example of a high ticket would be a 3 to 4 day coaching program to help your clients expand their businesses using your sales and marketing knowledge. Allocate 10% of your net profit into researching new business opportunities in the market, studying about the future market trend and expanding your current business. And allocate another 20% into building a new company using the same kind of strategies and tactics. Doing this will potentially double, triple, or even quadruple your income. I know it sounds incredible, but it's true. In summary, these tactics have worked for me and have allowed me to build a 7-figure business. These tactics and moves are from my experience. Your goal is to replicate this success by copying and pasting it into your business. You don't have to think. Again, don't reinvent the wheel. Just copy my business. The quickest way to achieve success is to model off of someone who's already there. Welcome back to another video. In this module, we'll be focusing on how to sell your business with a higher price and with less risk to the buyer. To sell your business, convince the buyer that you have a team that can run the business well after the transaction. The idea for people to buy a business is that they can ease into that business without any tinkering or working in the business. You'll also need to prove that your management team is locked into staying with your company after the acquisition. Next, you need to calculate your company valuation. There are several ways to do that, and in this video, we'll really only cover two. The first is enterprise value, or EV, over earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, or EBITDA. The second way is P over E, or price to earnings ratio. Both of these formulas are under business valuation multiplier. The EV over EBITDA formula is broken down to, again, enterprise value over its earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, while P&E, or P over E, stands for price to earnings ratio. We'll talk more about it in the next module. I'll see you there. So how do you sell your business for a 4x to 12x multiplier? And what's a multiple anyway? A multiple measures some aspects of a company's financial well-being, determined by dividing one metric by another metric. The metric in the numerator is typically larger than the one in the denominator. A multiple works in a way that it is a measurement of risk. The inverse or reciprocal of a multiple shows the current return on an investment. So the higher the multiple, the less risk a buyer perceives in the transaction, and the more likely they'll pay more for the investment. For example, the inverse of a 4x multiple is 25%. For a buyer to require a 25% return on investment, the business may not be growing or is in a tougher, more capital-intensive industry. Either way, a general interpretation is that this investment is pretty risky. In comparison, the inverse of a 12x multiplier is, get this, 0.08%, meaning that the buyer would be willing to pay 7 times only if the investment is much less risky. Okay, how to evaluate your business. A multiple is calculated as multiple equals performance metric A over performance metric B. A multiple can be used to show how much your business is worth in the market and how much you'll be able to make by selling your business away. For example, using the P over E ratio, if you plan to sell your company at 12x multiplier, how much will the price be? Or how much should your company be earning before you sell it away? The price of the company can be estimated by multiplying the annual earnings of the company by the multiplier of 12. Simple maths, but this formula can only be used as a rough estimation of how much your business is worth. However, a more precise way of doing it will be using the EV over EBIT DA formula. It's used to measure the cash flow available to the firm or business. EV to earnings before interest and taxes, also referred to as EV over EBIT, is used for less capital-intensive companies with a smaller depreciation and amortization expense. All multiples act as a single number that analysts can multiply by some financial metric to determine the relative value or worth. With the EV over EBIT DA formula, you'll be able to make comparison between you and your competitors who are doing similar types of business. After the business valuation, chances are your business is not worth as much as you expected it to be, or your business does not have a healthy earning history. So in the long run, the company might not be able to earn more than what you're already earning now. Increasing your company's worth before selling. How can you solve this alarming problem? Will you still be able to sell your business? Here's how you can turn the whole situation around by following these 7 steps. Step 1. A goal is a dream with a deadline. Set a target value on how much you want to sell your business for, and with a realistic time frame. For instance, if $5 million is a 12x multiplier, this is how you should be thinking. I want to sell my business for $5 million in 2 years' time. Find out how much your company needs to make annually to achieve your goal of selling your business away for $5 million. How can you achieve it? By driving in more sales, delivering more value, and having a higher profit margin. Step 2, bring in more sales. Create recurring revenue. Why isn't your business making money? Is it because your products or services are not fulfilling customers' expectation? Or could it be lack of sales? If it is, hire a sales team and a marketing team. The sales and marketing team's aim is to bring in more revenue for the company, increasing the annual earnings of the company. Have a manager for each team to manage their progress, and each of them is to report to you on a weekly basis. They should also propose ways to bring in more potential clients and maintain existing customers. Improving the customer's experience with the company is to make them raving fans of your company, and you need that kind of free press. Step 3, cash flow is king. A buyer will only buy or invest into, and in your buyer's eyes, buying in your company is a form of investment. They'll only buy into your company or your business if your company is able to help them make more money. So you should improve your company's financials before selling it. Generate positive cash flow by driving in more sales, because cash flow is king. To make your business a valuable and sellable asset, your company should have a history of making a healthy profit. Why profit and not revenue? Because profit is the bottom line of your business. If your company's annual revenue is high, but the profit is low, this shows that your business is not very profitable, and no one in their right mind would buy a non-profitable business. Step 4, management is doing things right. The leader is doing the right things. Having an automated system to keep your business going even when you're away is a huge advantage. Put yourself in the buyer's shoes and look and think from their point of view. If you were the buyer, would you prefer to buy a business and work hard for the rest of your life, or buy a business that will run itself and make money for you? Obviously, the answer is clear. So you need to form a management team to manage and lead your employees instead of you managing them. Step 5, make them stay. Once you've found the suitable manager or leader, tell them your plan of selling the business. At this point, you might feel that you're betraying your fellow employees of the management level, but in life, everyone has different priorities, and you want to have freedom and some quality time with your loved ones. But you can't afford to let your management level employees leave the company, because they're the leaders of your company, the ones who keep your business running smoothly even without your presence. They're the reason that you're able to sell your business at a higher price. Here's where you launch a long-term incentive plan for the key management, with a one-time special bonus in the event of the sale of your business, to keep them in your company, and more importantly, to prove that the management team is locked into staying with the company after the acquisition. Step 6 is finding a broker. Now's the time to find a representative to help you sell your business. It's better for you to look for a business broker than any other broker. Your broker should appreciate what you've done to transform your business and recognize that you've done something special, that you deserve to be compensated at a higher rate, or in other words, to sell your business for more than $5 million. Contacting a broker is a wise choice, but what you also need to realize is that brokers typically charge a percentage of the proceeds of the deal in the form of success fee or commission. Step 7, after the acquisition. After selling your company or business, you'll be receiving a lump sum of money, and this is where you need to manage your personal finances very wisely. Steps on how to manage your sudden wealth increase will be discussed in the next module. Hi, and welcome back. We've reached our final module, and you'll notice that we're transitioning away from talking about working for the money and starting to talk about having the money work for you. In this module, we'll be going through strategies on creating long-term wealth by putting your money to work. What does this actually mean? It simply means that you do not have to put any effort into generating your income. Instead, where you choose to put your money, you'll have the money multiply and grow for you. Is this even possible? Well, yes. One of the methods to do this is by investments. Investments are used to make money work and generate passive income, where adding passive income streams to your portfolio can aid you in increasing your earnings, as well as accelerating your financial goals in other tremendous ways. The term investment can be used to refer to any mechanism used for the purpose of generating future appreciation in income. Referring to the context of our modules, investment is a monetary asset purchased with the idea that the asset will provide income in the future or will be sold later at a higher value for profit gain. There are many vehicles for you to choose from in order to start your investment. These may include bonds, stocks, mutual funds, real estate, gold, silver, as well as Forex. Of course, to decide which investment vehicle is best for you, you need to know their characteristics and why they're suitable for a particular investing objective. But for this particular module, we'll only be focusing on 3 investment vehicles, which are gold, silver, and property. We'll elaborate each vehicle further in the coming modules. A surefire way to gain long-term wealth is investing in gold and silver. First, let's talk about investing in silver. The investment offers a lot of different options. We'll go through a brief overview of the focal points and conveniences of purchasing the most well-known silver bullion and silver coin speculations. What makes silver? Silver, just like gold, has been used across time. Research shows that silver is used mostly as coins since early days. However, unlike gold, silver has a variety of industrial and commercial applications. This is because silver is more flexible in its characteristics than gold. It remains the best electrical conductor known to man, highly resistant to corrosion. It's among the most malleable and ductile metals, and it's a splendid thermal conductor. The rarity of metals denotes their value increment. Such is the case in silver, where silver is a byproduct of different base metals, copper, lead, and zinc. 90% of the world's silver mining industries experience bankruptcies. The world is running out of silver. There are several reasons why you should invest in silver. The value will always appreciate in the long run, where the value of silver is stable regardless of the currency that you're purchasing it with. The increment of its value, due to its demand in various fields or industries, will always be great. The space between supply and demand is getting wider, leaving little amount of silver left to sell, so there's scarcity. Consequently, as we can see, the global demand of silver is growing. For example, all of the following uses of silver are growing: medical, electronics, food processing, water treatment, building materials, and consumer products. The focus here is that all of these items are on demand. So even during an economic downturn, there will be a high level of base demand. In terms of investment, the investment demand is soaring, especially in the USA. The US Mint sold more 1-ounce silver eagles in January 2013 than in any other month since they began creating silver in 1986. Other than that, total global demand of silver in the recent years is about 880 million a year, where the worldwide mine production is only about 760 million ounces per year. This example clearly demonstrates how silver is still relevant, where the demand exceeds the supply due to its practicality. Generally, you can invest your resources into silver in three ways: silver bullion and coins, silver bars, and exchange trade funds, or ETFs. The easiest is to purchase silver bullion specifically. Coin and valuable metal merchants offer silver bullion both face-to-face and in digital transactions over the web. You can go to any place from 1 ounce to a 1,000-ounce bar, decently and promptly in the silver market. The benefit of bullion is that once you have it, its value is entrenched and matches the silver marketplace. Silver price is historically more volatile than the price of gold, in that the value can change rapidly. In other words, the price of gold will rise, where based on historical volatility, the silver price would be expected to rise by a higher percentage than the gold price. The drawback is that merchants charge markups to offer you silver, and on the off chance that you need to trade out your bullion later, the merchant potentially would give you a price that does not match the overarching price of the market. Meanwhile, buying silver bars has also been proven to be an excellent tactic in preserving long-term wealth. As an investor, you should firstly be sure to determine the right size and type of silver bars used as a primary investment tool. Silver bars come in various sizes and weights, while most bars sell in troy ounces in increments of 1 ounce, 5 ounce, 10 ounce, 1 kilogram, 100 ounce, and 1,000 ounce bars. Some mints sell them in fractional or gram sizes. There's no right or wrong weight in purchasing silver bars, as this is a personal choice. Generally speaking, investors who choose to purchase a large bar find that it gets them the most bang for their buck. For the purchase of smaller sized silver bars, it's easier to liquidate. Now, let's look at how silver ETFs work. When you buy gold and silver physically backed by ETFs, you do not possess the physical metal, but you own a paper representation. With respect to the ETFs, for every share you buy, you own an ounce of silver. A custodian, usually by large banks, stores the actual metal. The share-to-metal correlation erodes the longer you hold the shares. The fund must sell silver, for example, periodically to pay for expenses, which decrease the amount of silver allocated to each share. Silver exchange rate is at 1% to 2% the cost of gold. It's difficult to consider silver as a genuine valuable metal compared to gold. However, it still has its noteworthiness in the eyes of investment. In the previous module, we discussed the value of silver and investment techniques for silver. Now let's move on to gold. Gold has been widely used since before the existence of paper money or fiat money. Research shows us that its usage was detected for over 3,000 years, but how can it retain its appreciated value? Well, its characteristics are what makes gold gold. It's simply beautiful, it's ductile, it's highly scarce, and it's extremely durable. Therefore, unlike paper currency, coins, or other assets, gold has maintained its value through time. People perceive gold as a way to preserve their wealth from one generation to the next. So why should you invest in gold? First off, the weakness of the US dollar. Although the US dollar is one of the world's most reserved world currencies, when the currency's value dropped against other currencies, both in '98 and in 2008, this resulted in more investments in gold, which raised the price. The price of gold nearly tripled during the years of currency downturn, reaching around $1,000 per ounce. Meanwhile, from 2008 to 2012, the price of gold escalated to almost $1,800 or $1,900 per ounce. So there's an increase in demand as well. In previous years, increased wealth of emerging markets boosted the demand of gold. In some countries, gold plays a significant part in culture. For example, in India, where the wedding season in October is traditionally the time of year where there will be the highest demand for gold. Meanwhile, in China, gold bars are a traditional form of saving, where the demand of gold has been steadfast. Investment-wise, many individuals are beginning to see gold as a commodity, as an investment class into which funds should be allocated. Gold should be an important part of a diversified investment portfolio, as its price generally increases in response to events that cause the value of paper investments, such as stocks and bonds, to decline. Although the price of gold can be volatile in the short term, it has consistently maintained its value over the long term. Throughout the years, it has served fairly as a means to hedge inflation, as well as the erosion of major currencies, making it an investment worth considering. Now let's move on to gold investment techniques. There are several ways to invest in gold. Gold coins, which are convenient and portable. Gold bars, which are cheaper in bulk, even cheaper than the same weight of gold coin. And then exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. When you purchase gold coins or bullion, maintain a strategic stance from huge premiums. Coins regularly originate from the National Mint, where they're made and sold at a 4% increase. The retailer's edge is 1 to 3%. To figure the premium of a gold item, subtract the spot cost from the value you're being cited. Separate that number by the spot cost and increase by 100. On the other hand, purchase physical gold at different costs: coins, bars, and adornments. The most common gold coins are American Buffalo, American Eagle, and St. Gaudens. To prevent from getting ripped off, build up your reason why you need to purchase gold bullions. If you're planning to invest in gold as a long-term venture, then purchase gold as close to market value as you can. These tips will help guarantee that you get great value from your investment. Your savings will also depend on the quality of the gold you choose to invest in. For gold bars, you have to be aware that it comes in many different shapes and sizes, where buying in bulk will save you a lot of money. There are more than 30 types of gold bars in the world's regional market today. At the most expensive end of the gold bar spectrum is the 1-gram novelty gold bar that's minted for the gift market. Often coated in plastic, these may cost at least twice the cost of their gold bullion content. Cheapest of all is the 400-ounce or 12.4 kilo good delivery gold bars held by central banks. Buying gold bars is almost always cheaper than buying the same weight in gold coins, and the bigger each bar, the lowest cost by weight. Depending on your local tax regime, you can reduce or completely avoid paying sales tax or VAT by buying gold bars instead of coins. Moving on to gold ETFs. As mentioned in the previous module discussing silver investment techniques, when you buy gold and silver physically backed by ETFs, you do not possess the physical metal, but you own a paper representation. The difference between silver and gold ETFs is that with respect to the ETFs, for every gold share you buy, you own 1/10 of an ounce of gold. A custodian, usually a large bank, stores the actual metal. The share-to-metal correlation erodes the longer you hold the shares. The fund must sell gold, for example, periodically to pay for expenses, which decrease the amount of gold allocated to each share. The next step is to invest in property. Property investment is when you own or buy a property that you're not staying in and is generating income for you. This sort of income is passive income. With your business expansion, you'd want to keep your surplus of finance invested in precious metals or property. If the money only sits in a bank and does nothing, it will devalue over time due to the cost of inflation. Money, when not working, gets lazy and fat, and that is exactly what happens in a bank. A mere 1 to 3% interest rate gained is not enough to hedge against inflation of 10% or higher. There's a 7% gap at least. There are 3 steps to start investing in property: checking your funds, managing your finances, and creating an investment plan. The first step is to check your funds. This will give you a rough idea on the amount of cash that you have readily available to invest, or the remaining gap to invest. In this step, you would also need to understand all the costs involved in acquiring and maintaining a property, especially if it's your first time investing in one. If you do not do your research, it's easy to fall into the trap of a rookie investor. The property bought will have poor cash flow because after netting off all the uncounted expenses, net profit or net cash flow may be low to negative. To hedge against this is step number 2. Plan out a budget and manage your company profit and loss sheet, ensuring that recurring and operational costs are low and profit margins are healthy. A recommendation is to allocate 10 to 20% of company net profits into investing into property. Be disciplined about this, and after 1 to 3 years, you'll find the company assets have doubled or tripled over the years because of the capital appreciation of good property. Step 3 is to create an investment plan. A successful long-term wealth creation through property investment requires that you set your personal goals, decide where you would want to end up, and then formulate a plan to get there. The purpose of the plan is to serve as a structure for you to stay in the game. Your investment plan may include detailing your strategy, doing your research, and setting up your preferred criteria for investment. Welcome back. Now that you're familiar with how to invest in property, let's focus on property investment technique. To start investing in property, these are the fundamentals that you have to know. The price tag of the property, the amount it will cost to maintain the property, how much rental pay you'll get, if of course you're planning to generate rental income, how much your home loan reimbursements will be if you're planning to generate capital gains. Your property venture group is one of your best resources as you develop your property portfolio. Research your group before you begin putting resources into property and cash over the long term. Your group will incorporate many other roles. The must-have roles in your property speculation group will include your ANZ, Home Credit and Protection Authorities. They assist in home loans. Your legal advisor. Their task is to safeguard your legal rights and facilitate the transfer of your property. And your accountant. They provide financial guidance and assistance during real estate transactions. They also prepare financial reports on behalf of property owners and real estate developers. The last step is to set your investment goals. Goal setting is important in investments because if you don't have a clear goal, you'll fall for everything. Then at the end, you'll end up having many different investments which may be giving you good returns, but really have no strategy. It's not an effective move because if you had pooled the money together, you'd be able to invest with a clearer direction. To do this, sit down with your financial advisor and chart out your strategy for the next 1 to 3 years. You should include projections based on current market trends to see if an investment vehicle is worthwhile to be in. After your plans have been laid out, the next part is to execute the plan. In summary, don't be afraid to invest. It would be foolish not to invest because money that's not put to good use loses its value over time, even more so when it's just sitting in the bank not doing anything.